the video that will destroy the three faces of your humanity. You believe that being human is a virtue, that your emotions, your morality, and your identity are treasures. But this so-called humanity is nothing more than a mask, designed so you can be accepted and controlled. What you don't realize is that every day you wear three faces that will soon be revealed. Each one weakens you. Each one domesticates you. That is why Machiavelli wrote, "Men in general judge more by the eyes than by the hands, because everyone can see, but few can truly feel." Your humanity is nothing more than that, a theater for the eyes, a repeated farce for the sake of acceptance. I am Wolfchiavelli, servant of Machiavelli's coldness and the wolf's instinct, and here I will rip off those three faces from you, one by one, without mercy. Do not expect to leave here more human. Expect to leave colder, more dangerous, more real, because destroying these faces means murdering your innocence and revealing what you have always tried to hide. The being who asks for no approval, needs no compassion, and bows to nothing. If you are still here, it is because you are ready to witness the death of your humanity and the birth of something that few dare to carry. Leave your like on this video and subscribe to our channel. The three faces of humanity. First, the sentimental face. The first face of your humanity is the sentimental one. It makes you believe emotions are virtues, that compassion and pity are signs of greatness. But in practice, this face is nothing more than a leash. While you take pride in your feelings, others manipulate you through them. Society feeds this face because it knows that men enslaved by their own emotions will never dominate. The sentimental man is predictable. Praise him, and he opens up. Attack him, and he destroys himself. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must not be guided by pity, but by necessity. The sentimental man, on the contrary, lives enslaved to reactions, incapable of being cold when coldness is vital. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you this face must be crushed. Sentimentalism is the golden prison where the weak are proud to dwell. The ability to feel is not a virtue, it is vulnerability. As long as you cling to this face, you will remain a mere plaything for those who know how to manipulate hearts. Destroying the sentimental face does not mean turning into stone, but it means never allowing your emotions to become tools in the hands of others. The Machiavellian prince must use emotions as instruments, not as guides. Those who fail to learn this lesson will always be ruled, never rulers. Second, the moral face. The second face is morality. It is the mask you wear to appear good, just, and dignified in the eyes of society. You strive to follow rules, to be accepted, to prove that you are upright. But this face is even more treacherous than the sentimental one, because it convinces you that you are choosing freely, when in reality, you are simply obeying the gaze of others. You do not act out of conviction, but out of fear of disapproval. Machiavelli wrote that it is not necessary to be virtuous, only to appear so. The moral man, however, tries to embody virtue itself, and by doing so, becomes a servant to the expectations of others. Morality is one of the greatest prisons of the common man. While you struggle to be seen as just, the Machiavellian wolf pretends to be moral only when it suits him, and in silence acts with cold precision. I, Wolfchiavelli, have learned to use morality as a mask, never as essence. The mistake is believing morality has value in itself. Its only value is political, a tool of appearance. Destroying this face means abandoning the need to be good, and instead performing goodness only when it is useful. What matters is not being just, but being strong. What matters is not pleasing, but ruling. Third, the illusory face. The third face of your humanity is the illusory one, the ego. It is the mask you create to shield yourself from fear and fragility, but in truth, it transforms you into an empty character. You cling to labels, to narratives, to an image you must defend at all costs. This is who I am. I cannot change. I need to be recognized. This theater is your prison. You live more to sustain the image than to build reality. Machiavelli knew that image is powerful, but only when used as a strategic tool, not as a psychological cage. The common man, however, lives as a slave to his own appearance. I, Wolfchiavelli, declare, this is the most dangerous face, because it is the one you believe is truly you. While the sentimental and moral faces can still be recognized as masks, the illusory face merges with your identity. It is the ego that prevents you from changing, from advancing, from rebuilding yourself. It is the ego that demands applause, approval, and protection. Destroying this face is the most brutal task. It means murdering the image you have created of yourself and accepting that behind it lies only emptiness. Yet, it is in that emptiness where freedom is born. It is there that man ceases to be human in the fragile sense and becomes something else. Cold, dangerous, impenetrable. The process of destruction. Crushing the sentimental face. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must learn not to be good, and to use or not use goodness as necessity requires." That is the death of the sentimental face. You were taught to believe that compassion is a sign of greatness, but blind compassion is nothing more than a collar around your neck. To destroy this face, you must begin by denying the automatic instinct to always feel pity. Not every suffering deserves a response. Not every tear should move you. The sentimental man is ruled because he reacts without thinking. The Machiavellian rules because he observes, decides, and only acts when there is strategic gain. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you this: kill this face every time the world demands that you feel along. The sentimental is predictable. Poke his emotions, and he obeys. When you learn to suffocate that response, you become cold, and coldness is what separates rulers from the ruled. Use emotions as tools, but never as a compass. Be capable of performing compassion to win trust, but never allow yourself to be enslaved by it. The prince who rules needs the mask of pity, but never its prison. Annihilating the moral face. Machiavelli taught, "It is desirable to be considered merciful, faithful, humane, upright, religious, but it is necessary to be so disposed that if you need to be the opposite, you can and know how to change to it." The moral face makes you believe you must be virtuous in essence. But essence is irrelevant. Only appearance matters. To destroy this face, you must abandon the obsession with being truly good. What you must learn is how to use the image of goodness as a mask, without becoming trapped in it. Morality should be a prop in your theater, not the chain that shackles you. I learned this as a servant of Machiavelli. Society wants you to believe that being good is indispensable, but that belief exists only to keep you docile. When you destroy this face, you begin to manipulate morality as a tool of power. You can appear just while acting with cruelty. You can perform religiosity while plotting ruthless strategies. The destruction of this face is liberation. You no longer need the approval of the masses. You simply manipulate them with the spectacle of virtue. Assassinating the illusory face. Machiavelli wrote, "Men in general judge more by the eyes than by the hands. Image rules, but only when used as an instrument. The mistake of the common man is to believe that the image he has built of himself is his essence. This is the ego, the third face. To destroy it, you must accept the death of what you believe yourself to be. You must look into the mirror and refuse to cling to the reflection. The identity you defend is not power, it is prison. You cling to phrases like, 'This is who I am,' because you fear dissolving. But dissolution is the only path to reconstruction. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you this: the ego is the hardest mask to destroy, because you believe it is you. But only when you assassinate this illusion do you become free. The Machiavellian man is not a slave to his own image. He changes it, manipulates it, uses it as needed. You must be willing to strip away your illusory face as one burns an old disguise. Only then will you be able to wear whatever mask you want, whenever you want, before whomever you choose. This death is painful, but it is through it that the cold, dangerous, and indomitable being who rules is born. The psychoanalytic and historical gaze. Psychoanalysis reveals what Machiavelli already intuited. Humanity is a mask sustained by the ego. Freud showed that the ego is not man's truth, but a facade built to survive the gaze of others. This facade is the first prison. The sentimental face, the moral face, and the illusory face all live within this ego that fears rejection, fears hatred, fears destruction. The coward spends his entire life defending this image, and for that reason, he is never free. I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, The first step toward power is to shatter the ego, because only then can you reach what psychoanalysis calls the unconscious, the beast you pretend not to carry. Freud said that the unconscious always returns, and what it brings back are drives, desires for violence, fear of annihilation, hunger for domination. The sentimental man represses these and lives as a slave to fragile emotions. The moralist represses his instincts and wears the mask of virtue. The deluded man represses his fear and creates a false ego to hide it. Yet all these repressions return in the form of symptoms, anguish, and repeated failures. The destruction of the three faces is, in truth, the supreme psychoanalytic act, tearing off the farce of the ego and allowing your shadow to rise to the surface. What cowards hide, dangerous men use as a weapon. Jung was even more ruthless. He showed that every man carries a shadow, the dark side made of everything you reject within yourself. The sentimental flees from his violence. The moral flees from his hypocrisy. The illusory flees from his fragility. But the shadow does not disappear. The more you deny it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the more it dominates you. Destroying the three faces of humanity is, at its core, a pact with the shadow. Not fleeing from it, but facing it, taming it, and using it. Only those who embrace this darkness can become truly dangerous. History confirms this law. Julius Caesar did not defend himself when accused of wanting to be king. He simply advanced. Napoleon did not confine himself to the morality of his era. He manipulated it while using brutal wars to rise. Machiavelli advised princes to appear virtuous, but to act as necessity required, because he knew that absolute morality was a trap. All leaders who left their mark on history shared one common trait. They destroyed the sentimental, moral, and illusory faces that would have kept them weak. Instead of acting as good men, they acted as dangerous men. Cowardice is sustained by fragile humanity. It is sentimental humanity that begs for compassion, moral humanity that begs for acceptance, illusory humanity that begs for approval. But all these faces are pieces of theater. Psychoanalysis shows that behind them lies only drive and shadow. Machiavelli shows that behind them lies only strategy and appearance. And I, Wolfchiavelli, tell you, as long as you insist on protecting these faces, you will continue living a lie. When you destroy them, only then will you act without restraint. This is the point that separates common men from predators. The common man protects his humanity as if it were a treasure, and therefore dies irrelevant. The predator destroys his humanity without remorse, and therefore rules. Freud would show you the shattered ego. Jung would show you the revealed shadow. Machiavelli would show you the mask wielded as a weapon. I show you the final result, a being cold, inhuman to the eyes of the weak, but finally free. The destruction of the three faces is not loss, it is birth. You take pride in your humanity. You think it's what makes you good, acceptable, human. But it is precisely that humanity that keeps you weak. The sentimental face turns you into a toy in the hands of those who manipulate your emotions. The moral face makes you a slave to the approval of others. The illusory face makes you a prisoner of your own fragile ego. You call this essence, I call it a leash. And as long as you protect these three faces, you will remain nothing more than another obedient body, a disposable piece, a number in the crowd. What I've given you here is too cruel for most, because destroying these faces means abandoning everything you were taught to value. It means killing your innocence, suffocating your sentimentality, spitting on the morality society imposed on you, and burning the false identity you guard as treasure. This will not make you loved. It will not make you accepted. It will make you cold, feared, hated. But it is precisely that hatred that will bring you respect, and that respect will bring you power. Think with me, how many men do you know who are remembered for their compassion, their morality, or their fragile ego? None. The ones who remain in history are those who destroyed these masks. Caesar, Napoleon, Machiavelli, none of them would have become eternal had they clung to the humanity society demanded. Humanity is mortal. The cold, dangerous, inhuman man is the one who transcends time. Do you still have the courage to cling to your mask, or will you destroy it now? The truth is simple and brutal. As long as you try to be human, you will be ruled. Only when you allow yourself to stop being human will you be able to rule others. Cowardice, morality, and ego are chains you call identity. Destroying them is the only path to freedom. I am not asking for your agreement. I am delivering your sentence. And you know it's true because it hurts. You can leave here and keep defending your humanity as if it were something noble. If you do, you will live safe, protected, accepted, but erased, irrelevant, forgotten. Or you can leave here and kill your three faces, one by one, and endure the coldness that will follow. You will lose peace, but gain dominion. You will lose acceptance, but gain fear. You will lose your humanity and gain eternity. I am Wolfchiavelli, and here I offer you not comfort, but poison. If you endured until the end, it's because part of you already understands. There is no turning back. This video didn't just reveal the three faces of your humanity, it began destroying them. Now the decision is yours. Remain human and die weak, or shatter yourself and be born a ruler. Humanity is your prison. Its destruction is your liberation.